What's going on, patriots, and all the rest of you bastards out there? There's just a couple little things I want to talk about. Talk about, terrorism this and, terrorism that and Bin Laden this and Pakistan and, I'll tell you what, without a doubt, there's some bastards over there, some of these, cave-dwelling idiots, that definitely want to come over here and kick some good old, Western devil ass. I can deal with that. I can deal with, some cave-dwelling bastard only wishing he could have a beard half as magnificent as mine. I mean, they can't, eat your fucking heart out there. Yeah, you could only wish. But back to a serious note. I can deal with that. I can deal with the fact, if we went to war with China, and it was an actual, conflict, as in, Russia, World War III. I can deal with that. I mean, that's real stuff. You know who the enemy is, and that is something that I can deal with. Foreign enemies. That part of things that doesn't scare the hell out of me. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of it, I'm not trying to say I'm fearless against it. It doesn't bother me. Sure it bothers me, but that doesn't really just scare me. Because it's going to be an eventuality, especially the way the policies are set up today. But one thing that does scare me is all this crap that's going on internally. What does scare me is, Tennessee passing a bill, to start drawing your blood at DUI, DUI stops. Oh yeah, they're going to start drawing your blood. Somebody thought that, this old boy out there in Arizona, this Marine, they got a warrant talking about, suspicion of, drug distribution and thought he might have been involved in some home invasions and this, that, and another. And after he come home from working a 12-hour shift in a mine, going to lay it down and get him some rest, his old lady sees somebody, moping around outside the window, goes and wakes her, goes up and wakes her man up. What's the first thing I'm going to do if, I get woke up? Saying, hey, there's somebody outside. What are you going to do? I know what I'm going to do. The same damn thing he did. I'm going to grab my means of protection and defending my household, and I'm getting in fucking war mode. Because I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to defend my shit. And he gets lit up. 71 fucking rounds fired, none of which were from him. That kind of shit, that's the kind of shit that scares me. Texas standing up against the fucking blue shirts. Oh, don't get it wrong, they had the brown shirts over yonder, back in the day, they're Gestapo, the brown shirts. Well, we have the fucking blue shirts. Same damn thing. There's not a lick of difference. It just hadn't progressed near as far. But it's getting there mighty quick. That is something that scares the hell out of me. Let's talk about that whole warrant thing. I mean, what happened to the good old days where if they thought you was fucking up, they'd surveil you, learn a pattern, and then, which with this guy would have been incredibly easy. Okay, well, he goes and he works for 12 hours and then he comes home. Well, I tell you what, how about we get him on the way to work? Or even better, let's get him on the way home from work when he's just ready to go home and fucking kick his feet up, have a beer, be with his family or whatever. Get him then while he's not in the house, and then you go serve the warrant. Without a fucking SWAT team. Without lighting everybody, without lighting the place up where there's a woman and kid. What happened to good old-fashioned police work? I mean, hell, if you think somebody's running drugs and you can't tell whether, and you sit out there and you can't tell whether or not they're running drugs within 2 days, then you don't need to be in that line of business. The way the system's working against citizenry, that is what scares me. We talk about Memorial Day and remember our past heroes and the ones who have fallen in defense of liberty. Well, the way things are going right now, I don't think we ought to have a Memorial Day. Redneck, why the fuck would you say that? Well, what's the sense in having Memorial Day if we don't have our freedom? What's the sense in honoring those if essentially they gave their lives for nothing when we got shit like that going on in our country? I mean, you see where I'm coming from there? And this whole no-fly zone, talk about the feds was going to come in and shut down Texas airports because they were going to toss out, well, not necessarily toss out the TSA. They didn't say they were going to throw them out. They just said, you know what, you can't start grabbing people's junk. Which they can't anyway. They was just going to actually fortify it in state law that they couldn't. And then you're going to say, essentially, you're going to shut down all, air traffic coming in. You're going to shut down the airports, impose a no-fly zone, without calling it a no-fly zone over Texas. Hell, that's a blockade. I'll tell you what I would do. If something like that, if I was a governor, say I was the governor of the state I'm in. Let me tell you how I would handle that situation. Say the House of Representatives got this bill together, and it passed. And then it went to the Senate, and they made these threats, and it passed. And I signed it. And these idiots are going to think they're going to come in and shut down the airports in my fucking state? I'll tell you exactly what I would do. We've got highway patrol, we got sheriffs, we got a local PD, we have a state guard that's independent of the National Guard and Big Army. You know what? I'm getting on the phone, I'm getting on the horn. General, get your guys together, activate the state guard, and get your asses in gear. Same thing with the highway patrol. Same thing with the sheriff. Hey, sheriff, you better start a posse, start deputizing. Raise the militia. And I'm not going to send them in to do it. That was like this here event in Tennessee that they had where they was out there shutting down highways, and the governor told them, y'all can't do that, and they told them to go, it's like, whatever, fuck off. PDD 51, John Warner Defense Authorization Act, piss off. Well, I'm going to tell you, there would have been an armed confrontation on that fucking highway. Your supremacy clause does not give you that authority. Your supremacy clause doesn't give you authority to go sticking your hands down people's pants. Your supremacy clause that you claim does not give you the authority to just completely shut down highways at random and start, searching everybody. No. You don't get that. And if that was to happen in my state, and if I was in the office of trust or responsibility, and I was entrusted with, protecting the citizens from shit like that, you better bet your ass I'd be taking action. I wouldn't just sit there as a governor of Tennessee and, okay, well, they told me to piss off. What can I do? I told them to get out and they wouldn't leave. Well, then you make them bastards leave. Well, Utah's picking up that whole anti, rape bill or grope bill, that Texas had going. Oh, yeah, they're going to go ahead with it. And I hope to hell they go ahead with it, and I hope to hell it passes. And I hope to hell the feds, say that they're going to do some shit like that. And if they do, and then Utah fights back, hell, that's a hell of a fucking drive, but I'd be willing to make it. The best way to defeat a tyranny is to start making them act like tyrants. You force them, you force their hand. And when they do, and when you do, and they start acting and start actually showing their true colors, and you defend yourself, you do it to the fullest extent. I'm not anti-government. Hell, I'm not anti-black or Jew or Catholic. I'm not anti-anybody. I love what my country used to be, but I fear what it has become. We need government. But we need the government we're supposed to have. The hell with this oligarchy. Oh no, we're not in a republic anymore. And we're not even in a damn democracy. Oh sure, a few decades ago we were in a democracy. But it's an oligarchy now. And one of these days we've got to take our shit back. But you can't just go out there. All these people, call themselves anti-government and just want to go out there. Some of these people call themselves sovereign citizens and think that none of the rules apply to them. Sure, rules definitely apply. And you can't just all of a sudden stand up and say, oh, I'm a sovereign citizen and all this shit doesn't apply to me. And, sit there and expect that to fly. The way things should be and the way things are, you can't change it overnight. You can't just one day, oh, well, that's an unjust, And I bring it up because I had very intelligent conversation, with a family member, that is an officer. And we had pretty lengthy discussions, and he was telling me about some of the stuff that he personally has encountered, and he was talking to me, well, what about this sovereign citizen stuff? And I started explaining it to him. And he was like, well, that makes sense, but at the same time we have laws. And then he was asking me like, well, about car tags and driver's licenses and shit like that. And so I broke it down. But at the same time, some of these douchebags out there claiming to be sovereign citizens, what they're doing, is unacceptable. At this time, anyway. There will come a time when things that are unacceptable right now will be expected. But now is not the time for some of this douchebaggery that's going on. And I call it douchebaggery because it's putting it's painting a hell of a picture for the rest of us. Y'all have a good one.